Deep within a valley, where the mist clings to emerald mountains, there was a temple built upon the edge of a great river. The monks who lived there had long understood the language of the water, listening to its whispers as it carried stories from distant lands. Among them was a young monk named Ren, whose heart was both still and seeking. He had spent years in quiet devotion, tending the temple gardens, sweeping the stone pathways, and meditating beneath the rustling bamboo. But there was one thing he had never done. He had never crossed the great river. The river, with its slow-moving waters and endless depth, had always been a mystery to Ren. He had watched it each day, wondering where it led, wondering what lay beyond its shimmering horizon. Yet no boat ever passed, no bridge ever stood. The elders told him, the river is not to be crossed by those who do not understand its ways. One evening, as the setting sun dipped behind the mountains, the eldest monk summoned Ren to his side. "Tomorrow at dawn," he said, "you shall walk the path of the Floating Lotus." Ren bowed deeply, though he did not understand. That night, sleep did not come easily. He listened to the steady hush of the river, feeling it call to him in a language he could not yet comprehend. When the first light of morning kissed the water's surface, Ren stood at the river's edge, waiting. The mist curled around him, wrapping him in its cool embrace. And then, as if answering an unspoken invitation, the first lotus bloomed upon the surface of the water. Its petals unfurled, revealing a soft, golden glow, and then another one appeared beside it, then another and another, a path of luminous flowers stretching across the great river. Ren hesitated, watching as the water remained still beneath the floating blossoms. He took a breath, deep and steady, and stepped forward. The moment his foot touched the first lotus, a warmth filled his body, as though the river itself had welcomed him. The flower held firm beneath his weight. Another step, then another. With each movement, the river cradled him in its rhythm, guiding him forward with gentle certainty. As he walked, the world around him seemed to soften. The wind grew quiet. The mountains shimmered with a light he had never noticed before. The river spoke, not in words, but in feeling, a deep, infinite presence that wrapped around him like a lullaby. And then, halfway across, he stopped. The final lotus floated just before him, its petals trembling with the hush of the water. Ren understood. The journey was not about reaching the other side. It was about trust, about surrender, about walking with the river rather than against it. He knelt upon the lotus, closing his eyes, feeling the gentle pulse of the water beneath him. And in that stillness, a great peace washed over him. The longing, the questions, the endless search, they all faded into the quiet embrace of the water. When Ren opened his eyes, he was standing once more at the temple's edge, the river stretching before him just as it had always been. The lotuses were gone, but something within him had changed. He no longer needed to cross. He no longer needed to seek. The river had already carried him to where he was meant to be. And so, with a quiet heart and the wisdom of the floating lotus resting within him, Ren bowed to the water and turned back toward the temple, his soul lighter than it had ever been before. Now, as you lay in your bed, let the river's calm fill your breath. Feel the stillness, the quiet trust, the gentle unfolding of each moment. There is no need to rush, no need to search. You are already exactly where you need to be. Breathe in and breathe out. Let yourself drift into the river of dreams. Good night.